The golden cage. The human man woke up slowly. His head was heavy and his body felt weak. He tried to move but hit something hard. Metal, cold and smooth. He blinked and looked around. He was inside a golden cage. The bars glowed softly with strange lights. Outside, everything looked alien. Too bright, too shiny, too perfect. The room was large, like a palace, and full of strange creatures. Tall aliens with glowing eyes walked around in elegant clothes, talking in a language he didn't understand, or so they thought. His name was Eli Cross, a ship mechanic from Earth. His shuttle had crashed on an unknown planet 3 days ago. He remembered fire, pain, then darkness. Now he was a pet, a prize, a thing to be sold. Eli sat up slowly. His body was bruised but not broken. Around him were other cages. Some had strange animals. One had a blue-furred creature crying softly. Another held a small alien child who looked terrified. A loud voice echoed through the hall. An alien auctioneer stood on a raised platform. And, next, a rare species from the lost blue world. A human, healthy, young, intelligent-looking. The auctioneer shouted in alien tongue. But Eli understood every word. He had studied alien language during his time with Earth's peace envoys. He wasn't fluent, but he understood enough. He kept his face blank and stared forward, pretending not to understand. That was his only weapon now. They didn't know he could listen. A crowd of wealthy aliens gathered around his cage. They looked at him like a pet, like a toy. Some laughed. One old alien sniffed at him and turned away in disgust. Then, silence fell. A group of guards entered, wearing armor that shimmered like fire. Behind them walked the most powerful-looking alien woman Eli had ever seen. She was tall, with silver skin and long black hair braided with jewels. Her eyes were sharp, glowing gold like twin suns. Her clothes were made of silk and armor, half beauty, half war. Whispers ran through the crowd. "The Empress," they said. She came in person. The alien Empress walked straight to Eli's cage. She stared at him for a long moment, saying nothing. Then she smiled. She said in her language, which Eli understood clearly. "Not bad. Clean features, strong frame, I'll take this one." The auctioneer bowed deeply. "Yes, Empress, of course." A large credit chip was transferred instantly. The golden cage lifted into the air. Eli was carried away by floating drones. The Empress followed him with slow, graceful steps like she already owned him. Inside her private chambers, the cage was placed near a soft platform. Pillows, fruit. Music played softly from strange instruments. It was like a dream. The Empress sat on a velvet throne and looked at him. "Speak, little one," she said with a smirk. "Let me hear your voice." Eli looked confused on purpose. He tilted his head and made a soft sound like a curious animal. She laughed. "Ah, you are adorable," she said. "Simple, but cute." She turned to her advisors. "He understands nothing. He'll make a perfect listener. I'll keep him close." One of the guards spoke. "Should we collar him, Empress?" "No," she said. "He's harmless." But she was wrong. Eli heard every word, every plan, every secret, and what he heard chilled him to the bone. "We'll send the first wave to Earth in 3 months," the Empress said to her generals. "Their defenses are weak. We'll take the planet in less than a year." Eli didn't move. He didn't blink. But inside, his heart was racing. They were planning to invade Earth. He lay on the soft cushion inside the cage, pretending to nap. But his mind was already working fast. He had to survive. He had to learn more. And somehow he had to warn Earth. The Empress walked over and dropped a soft fruit near him. He sniffed it and bit gently, like an animal. She smiled again. "I think I'll enjoy having you," she said. Eli looked up at her with wide, innocent, eyes, but inside he whispered silently to himself, "You have no idea what I am." Eli sat on the soft cushions inside the golden cage. Days had passed, but time moved strangely in the alien palace. He had everything: fresh fruit, soft blankets, even warm baths given by silent servants. But freedom? He had none. The Empress kept him close like a rare pet. He was cleaned, fed, and displayed. But what no one knew, he listened to every word and remembered everything. The Empress would walk in every evening, still wearing her shining armor, and sit across from him with a tired sigh. She'd talk as if he were a harmless animal. Sometimes she laughed. Sometimes she complained about her generals, her enemies, or even her lonely childhood. Eli kept his face blank, but inside he built a map of her thoughts, her secrets, her plans. One night, as the alien sun dipped low and cast purple light through crystal windows, the Empress leaned back and said something that made Eli freeze. "Move the Earth invasion forward by 2 weeks," she told her general. "I grow tired of waiting. I want their oceans, their soil, their silence." Eli sat motionless. His heart beat faster. 2 weeks. That was all Earth had now. He had to act soon. But how? The Empress's palace was like a maze. He had seen no other humans, and the aliens treated him like decoration. Only one person ever spoke to him gently, a servant girl named Lyra. She was young, with soft gray skin and glowing teal eyes. Her voice was low and her steps were quiet. She cleaned his cage, brought his food, and once, just once, she whispered something strange when the guards weren't looking. "I know you understand," she said quickly, eyes not meeting his. "Don't worry, I won't tell." Eli blinked, keeping still. That night when she came again, he whispered back, "Help me, please." Her eyes widened, but she nodded slowly. "Tomorrow, I'll show you the servants' paths." True to her word, the next night Lyra brought him food, and under the tray was a small map. Not paper, but some kind of alien cloth that glowed slightly in the dark. Secret tunnels, guard patrol routes, access points. He looked at her. "Why help me?" She hesitated. "Because this place is not a palace. It's a cage for all of us." That night the Empress came in late. She looked different. Her hair was unbraided. Her expression was quiet, almost sad. "You're lucky," she said to Eli. "You don't understand pain, war, politics. You just eat and sleep. You don't know betrayal. I envy you, little creature." Eli tilted his head, pretending not to understand. But her words stirred something in him. Was she really a monster? Or just broken? Still, Earth was in danger. He couldn't forget that. The next morning, something unexpected happened. The Empress ordered his cage door unlocked. "Let him walk with me," she told her guards. "I want to see if he stays by my side willingly." Chains were placed gently around Eli's wrists, not tight but enough to remind him. The Empress held the other end like a leash. They walked through the gardens of the palace, where strange glowing plants grew and colorful birds flew freely. "He's learning," the Empress said, smiling to her advisor. "He follows me now. He knows who feeds him." Eli said nothing. He walked quietly beside her, taking mental notes of every exit, every camera, every guard. Later that day, he was taken back to his cage. But something had changed. She didn't lock the door. Eli sat inside, wondering, was this a test? A trap? That night, Lyra came again. "You can escape," she whispered. "Now is your chance." Eli looked at the open cage. He could leave, run, try to find a way to steal a ship, maybe reach the Earth Embassy, maybe warn them. But something held him back. The Empress's voice echoed in his mind. "You don't know betrayal." Was that all she knew from others? Lies and betrayal? Still, he couldn't wait forever. He looked at Lyra. "Tomorrow night, will you be ready?" She nodded. "Yes, but if they catch us, we'll both die." Eli smiled faintly. "Then let's not get caught." He laid back on the cushion, staring at the alien stars through the glass ceiling. His life now was made of silk. But it was still a prison, and behind every soft fruit and gentle word was a chain, a collar, a leash. He would break it, but for now he played his part. The loyal pet, the dumb creature. But inside, Eli was something else entirely, a man waiting to act. The next night came quietly. The stars outside the palace shone like frozen fire, but inside the Empress's chambers, everything was still. Eli sat near the open door of his golden cage, pretending to be calm. But inside, he was waiting, watching, thinking. That night was different. Lyra didn't bring food. She brought news. They moved the war plans again, she whispered, kneeling beside him as she cleaned. The invasion of Earth is now in 6 days. Eli's heart dropped. 6 days. That was no time at all. If he waited too long, Earth would be attacked before he could escape or warn anyone. He looked at Lyra carefully. "Are you sure you want to help me?" he asked in a soft voice. She nodded. "I was taken from my home too. Long ago. I was not bought like you. I was captured. Just like hundreds of others. No one helped us. Until now, maybe." That moment between them was quiet, powerful. She was not just a maid, and he was not just a pet. They were both prisoners in silk cages. "Then tonight," Eli said, "show me the way." Lyra waited until midnight. Then she returned, dressed in a servant's dark cloak. She carried an extra one for him. She helped him out of the cage, and for the first time in days, Eli's feet touched the cold floor of the palace without chains. They slipped through servant halls and narrow tunnels lit by blue lights. The palace was massive, like a city wrapped in gold. But Lyra knew the paths. She had memorized every door, every blind spot. She had been planning this long before Eli arrived. They reached a small room with a long, narrow window that overlooked a large docking bay. There, dozens of alien ships rested, glowing softly under the lights. Eli's eyes narrowed. "That one," he said, pointing. "That's an Earth-designed shuttle, modified, but I can fly it." Lyra's eyes widened. "You're a pilot?" "I was a mechanic," he said. "But I learned enough to survive. I can get to orbit, maybe send a message." Suddenly the door behind them opened. Lyra turned, panic in her eyes. But it wasn't a guard. It was the Empress. She stood in the doorway, wearing a dark robe. Her golden eyes glowed in the dim light. For a moment, no one moved. The air was heavy. Then, she spoke softly. "I knew it," she said. "I felt it for days. You're not just a pet." Eli stepped in front of Lyra, ready to protect her. The Empress raised her hand. "Relax, I'm not here to punish you, not yet." Lyra dropped to her knees. "Please, Empress." "Quiet," the Empress said coldly, but then she looked back at Eli with something different in her eyes. "Pain. I trusted you," she whispered. "In my own strange way, I gave you comfort. I gave you peace. And all this time, you lied." Eli took a step forward. "You invaded my home. You locked me in a cage. I had no choice." She stared at him. "No choice. Is that what you think?" There was silence. Then she sighed and turned away from the window. "Earth is already under surveillance. Our ships are near your planet. Even if you escape, you won't stop us." "I'll try," Eli said. "Then you'll die." He didn't back down. "Maybe, but at least I'll die free." The Empress turned back to him, her face unreadable. "You're different than I thought you always were." Then she looked at Lyra. "You go." Lyra looked up, shocked. "What?" "Leave," the Empress repeated. "Before I change my mind." Lyra glanced at Eli, but he nodded. "Go. I'll handle this." She ran through the tunnel and disappeared into the dark. The Empress stepped closer to Eli. They were face to face now. No guards, no chains, no throne between them. "You know," she said, "I could have your mind erased, wiped clean." "You could," Eli said calmly. But you won't. Why not? Because you're tired, he replied. Tired of ruling, tired of fake smiles, tired of being feared instead of loved. The Empress didn't answer. Her eyes softened just a little. Maybe, she whispered. Maybe I just wanted someone to see me. Not as a queen, but as a person. Eli looked at her quietly. Then let me go. Or come with me. Help me stop this war. She laughed bitterly. You dream too much, human. He smiled. That's what makes us dangerous. She stared at him for a long time. Then, to his shock, she turned around and opened a secret panel on the wall. Behind it was a hidden staircase that led straight down. Go, she said, not looking back. Before I regret this. Eli didn't wait. He ran down the steps. But before he vanished into the dark, he looked back. The Empress was still standing there, her face half in shadow. She didn't speak. But in her eyes, something had changed. For the first time, the golden cage door had opened. Not by force, but by choice. The secret passage twisted downward through the stone belly of the palace, lit only by dim red lights. Eli ran without stopping, each step pulling him farther from the Empress's chambers, and from everything he thought he understood about her. She had let him go, not out of fear, not out of kindness, something else. He didn't have time to figure it out now. If he could reach the docking bay and steal the Earth shuttle, he could leave this planet, send a warning to Earth, maybe even stop the invasion. But in the back of his mind, the Empress's face stayed with him. Her golden eyes hadn't been filled with rage or hatred. They had been filled with sadness, and that haunted him. As he reached the final door of the tunnel, he found Lyra waiting. She had stolen a guard's uniform and held a small alien keycard in her hand. I found a way into the bay, she whispered. But you only have minutes. The next patrol will come soon. Come with me, Eli said. Lyra shook her head. No. If I disappear, they'll hunt you faster. I'll stay and delay them. Lyra, go, she said firmly. Do what you came for. He hesitated, then grabbed her hand. Thank you. She smiled. You're not just a pet anymore, Eli, you're a fire. Go burn something down. He ran into the ship hangar, ducking behind crates and shadows. The Earth shuttle was small, old, but still functional. He climbed inside, powered it up, and started the launch sequence. But as the engines began to hum, alarms blared across the palace. They knew. He pushed forward, forcing the shuttle up. Guards poured into the hangar below, shouting in alien language. Gunfire flashed through the air, but the ship rose higher. Then, the doors ahead opened, and the Empress stepped in. She wasn't in armor this time. She wore a simple black robe, her long hair unbraided. No crown. No guards, just her. The soldiers paused, confused. She raised her hand. Let him go, she said coldly. Everyone froze. One general stepped forward. Empress, he's escaping. She turned her eyes on him. I said, let him go. The guards lowered their weapons. The bay door opened slowly. Eli stared down at her through the ship's glass window, unsure what to think. She had every reason to stop him. But she didn't. He flew out into the stars. For 2 days he drifted in space, moving toward the edge of the Empress's territory. He sent warning messages over and over, praying someone would hear, hoping Earth still had time. He should have felt free, safe, but he didn't. Instead, he felt pulled. Something was wrong. On the 3rd day, his ship beeped, a message coming through, a short, broken signal from her, the Empress. Her face appeared on the small screen, but it wasn't the proud ruler he had met before. Her skin was pale, her eyes tired. Human, she said weakly. They moved against me. My council. They found out I let you go. I'm no longer Empress. I have hours. Eli sat still. She looked straight at him. You don't owe me anything, but I have one request. She looked down as if afraid to say the next words. There's a child. My daughter. No one knows about her. She's hidden far from the palace. If they find her, she'll be used, turned into a symbol of war. I beg you, help her. Just this once. Then the screen turned black. Eli sat in silence. She had begged him. Not as an empress, not as a queen, but as a mother. He thought of everything she had done. The chains, the plans to invade Earth. But he also thought of her eyes when she opened, the hidden door. The sound of her voice when she said she envied him, and now she had nothing left. He changed course. The coordinates came through a second later. A remote planet, far from any map he knew. He set a new path and flew. When he arrived, he landed in a thick forest under red skies. There was a small shelter built into the ground. Carefully, he stepped out and opened the hidden hatch. Inside, he found her. A young alien girl, no older than 10. Her eyes were the same glowing gold as the Empress's. She looked up in fear, but Eli dropped to one knee. I'm a friend, he said softly. Your mother sent me. Tears filled her eyes. She ran into his arms. Eli held her, looking up at the darkening sky. He didn't know what came next. War was coming. Earth was still in danger. But here in his arms was a child born from someone he once called an enemy. And now, he was her only protector. The red skies above the forest rumbled with thunder. A strange storm was building. Hot winds and glowing clouds rolled across the sky like angry spirits. Eli held the Empress's daughter close to his chest as they left the underground shelter. Her name was Seren, and she was quiet. Too quiet for a child. She never cried, never smiled, just stared at him with wide golden eyes. Eli had seen soldiers stare like that during war, cold, alert, afraid to hope. This little girl had grown up, in fear, even in hiding. He could feel it in her. We have to move, he said gently. They'll be searching. Serene didn't speak, but she nodded. Eli guided her through the forest, stepping over twisted roots and glowing plants. The storm roared louder above, lightning flashing in colors he had never seen before, green, violet, and blue. Alien storms were more dangerous than Earth storms. They were full of electric winds that could burn skin, even melt small ships. They needed shelter. He found a cave carved into a cliffside. As they entered, rain began to fall, thick drops that hissed like acid when they hit the ground. They were safe, for now. He built a small fire using a heat stick from his emergency kit. The girl sat near him, hugging her knees. Eli unwrapped a protein bar and handed it to her. She looked at it carefully, then took a small bite. After a moment, she spoke for the first time. You were her pet. Eli looked up. She told me stories, Seren whispered, about a human with strong eyes, who didn't look away, who understood her. Eli smiled sadly. I wasn't really her pet. I know, Seren said. She loved you. That's why they took her crown. His chest tightened. Did she ever say that? Serene nodded. She said, you reminded her of freedom. The fire cracked softly between them. Suddenly a sound echoed from outside, a soft hum, then a whispering voice in the wind. Eli stood, fast, motioning for Seren to hide behind a rock. He stepped toward the cave entrance and peeked outside. A figure was approaching through the storm. Not a soldier, not a guard. A spy. Eli recognized the dark cloak, the long weapon, and the smooth, silver mask. Imperial assassins wore those, trained to hunt, kill, and vanish without a trace. The council must have sent one to find Seren. He reached for his laser tool, the only weapon he had, and ducked into the shadows. The assassin stepped into the cave slowly, scanning. She's here, the cold voice whispered through the mask. Orders are clear. No survivors. Eli moved behind him like a shadow and struck hard with the blunt side of the tool. The assassin stumbled forward, but recovered quickly, and turned with lightning speed, firing a pulse shot. The energy blast hit Eli's shoulder. He cried out and fell. The assassin moved in, raising the weapon for a final shot. But a loud crack echoed through the cave. Seren had picked up a heavy rock and slammed it into the assassin's head. The mask cracked. The spy fell, stunned. Eli groaned in pain but forced himself to stand. He grabbed the weapon, aimed, and fired. The assassin didn't move again. Seren stood frozen, breathing fast. Eli dropped the weapon and knelt beside her. "You saved me," he whispered. She looked at him, eyes shining. "I couldn't let you die," she said. "Not after Mama gave you to me." He hugged her tightly. Outside, the storm began to calm, but the world around them had changed forever. Eli patched up his shoulder using the spy's medical kit. Then he searched the body for tech. He found something useful, a stealth beacon and a communication band. A message was already sent from it just before the fight. "They know our location," Eli said. "We have to leave now." Serene climbed onto his back without a word. He carried her through the forest, guided by the beacon's direction signal. The spy's ship wasn't far. It was sleek and small, designed for quick escapes. Perfect. They climbed aboard. Eli sealed the door, activated stealth mode, and lifted off just before another storm wave struck the ground below. In the sky, Seren sat quietly beside him. "Where are we going?" she asked. "To a place where they won't find you," he said. "To someone who can protect you." "Who?" she asked. Eli paused. "Earth," he said. "We'll go home." She looked down. "But I'm not human." "You don't need to be," he replied. "You just need someone to care." Serene leaned her head against his arm. "Like Mama cared for you?" Eli nodded. "Exactly." As the stars opened up around them, Eli knew the fight wasn't over. The Empress had been dethroned. The invasion fleet was still coming. But something had shifted. He now had her child. And maybe the heart of the war was no longer a weapon or a planet. Maybe it was this small, silent girl. The stars stretched endlessly around the small spy ship as it drifted through deep space. Inside, Eli sat at the controls, scanning for signals. Beside him, Serene slept, curled in a soft blanket, her small form barely rising and falling with each breath. He hadn't slept in 2 days. His shoulder ached from the wound, and his mind was a storm. The beacon on the assassin's ship had led him to a safe route out of Imperial space, but they weren't free yet. Eli had sent 5 warning messages to Earth. No replies. Either Earth's network was jammed or the invasion had already begun. He leaned back in the pilot seat and stared at the blinking lights. All his training, all his experience, it had never prepared him for this. He was once just a mechanic. Now he was a protector. A guardian to the daughter of the most feared alien empress in the galaxy, and the Empress was gone. He touched the small memory chip hidden in his belt pouch. Before she lost her power, she had sent one final message, encoded, secret, full of truths no one else knew. He hadn't opened it. Not yet. Now, he had to. He waited until Seren was asleep, then slipped into the back cabin of the ship. There he inserted the chip into the scanner and watched the screen light up. The Empress appeared. No crown, no guards, no palace. Just her, sitting in a plain room, her eyes soft. "If you are seeing this," she said, "then I have lost." She took a deep breath. "My council betrayed me. They never wanted peace. I tried to slow the invasion or delay it. But they grew suspicious when I spared you. They called me weak." Her voice trembled for a moment. "I was never supposed to be Empress," she continued. "My sister was. She died in the war. I was chosen because I showed strength. But power, it poisons everything. I became something I hated, and you, human, you reminded me of who I was." Eli swallowed hard. He could feel her pain. She looked straight at the screen now. "I know you think I used you, and maybe I did. But the truth is, I envied you. Your freedom. Your fire. Your kindness, even in a cage. She looked down. My daughter Seren, she is everything I could not be. She deserves better. That is why I send her to you. Then her eyes hardened. There is one more thing you must know. The Council's real plan is not just to conquer Earth. They intend to destroy it. Not to erase. Your people are seen as too dangerous, too unpredictable. They want you gone. Eli's heart stopped. Destroy Earth? They've already placed a weapon in orbit near your moon. A war satellite capable of burning a planet's surface. You must stop it. Coordinates are attached to this message. It will activate in 3 days. She paused again, then said, quietly, I am sorry for the pain I caused, for the things I didn't say. If there is any piece of me left in your heart, use it to save them and protect her. The screen went black. Eli sat still for a long moment, his fists clenched. The truth had been worse than he imagined. Earth wasn't just being invaded, it was being targeted for extinction. He returned to the control panel and opened the map. The coordinates were real. The war satellite was parked in silent orbit, hidden behind the moon. No one on Earth would see it until it was too late, unless he got there first. He turned the ship sharply, rerouting their course. The sudden motion woke Seren. She looked up at him sleepily. Where are we going? To stop something bad, he said. Very bad. She rubbed her eyes. You look angry. I'm not angry, Eli replied. I'm focused. She looked at him quietly, then asked, Did you love my mama? Eli paused. He didn't know the answer at first. But then he said no, but I respected her. And maybe in a different world we could have been something. Serene nodded like she understood, then curled up again. Eli focused on the flight. As the ship entered hyperspeed, he made a decision. He would destroy the satellite, even if he had to crash into it, even if it cost him everything. Earth had to live. Seren had to live. Because now, her life was tied to his. Not by chains, not by orders, but by choice. And this time, Eli would not run. The war satellite came into view like a silent god in the dark. It hung just beyond Earth's moon, wrapped in shadow and quiet. But Eli knew what it truly was. A weapon of extinction. A single command could wipe out cities, turn oceans to steam, and burn the Earth clean. Eli's small stolen spy ship was no match for it. But he wasn't planning on fighting it head-on. He was planning on outsmarting it. He drifted in slowly, keeping the ship in stealth mode. Beside him, Seren watched with wide, worried eyes. Will Earth be okay? She asked softly. Eli looked at her. Not unless we do something brave. She looked down at her hands. Mama used to say being brave means doing what's right, even when you're scared. Eli nodded. She was right. He tapped into the old comm system and pulled up the satellite's outer security logs. He had hacked Imperial tech before. It was slow work, but possible, especially with the Empress's code embedded in the chip she left him. As he worked, the satellite turned slightly, its giant cannon-like weapon beginning to warm. It had sensed something near. They were running out of time. He guided the ship toward a docking port on the side of the satellite. As they locked in, alarms blared inside. But he was already moving. He turned to Seren. You stay here. If I don't come back in 20 minutes, take this ship and go to the Earth station. Give them this chip. Seren grabbed his arm. Don't leave me. I have to, he said. But I'm coming back. I promise. She let go slowly. Eli opened the hatch and jumped into the satellite. The inside was cold and dark, full of long metal halls and blinking red lights. He moved fast, following the signal from the Empress's code. It led him deep into the heart of the weapon, toward the core. He found it, a glowing orb the size of a small car pulsing with energy. This was the satellite's power source and command center. A voice echoed through the chamber. You should not be here, human. Eli turned. A hologram flickered into existence. It was one of the Imperial Council members. a cold-faced alien with silver eyes and a cruel smile. "We warned the Empress," the hologram said. "You creatures are dangerous. That's why we must remove you." "You mean kill us all?" Eli snapped. The hologram smiled wider. "Survival requires hard choices." Eli pulled out the chip and held it up. "She left this for you. One last command." He inserted it into the control panel. The satellite. Lights blinked. Then the voice stopped. Silence. Then, a deep warning tone echoed. "Command override. Accepted." The self-destruct system activated. Eli backed away as red lights flared everywhere. He ran, down the corridor, through the hatch, into the ship. Serene looked up, terrified. "What happened?" "We've got 90 seconds, Eli said. "Hold on." He blasted away from the satellite just as it began to break apart. Light poured from its core like a sun being born. Behind them it exploded, silently, beautifully, leaving nothing but floating metal dust. Eli gasped for air. His hands were shaking. "It's over," he whispered. Serene wrapped her arms around his waist. "You did it." He looked down at her, heart pounding. "We did it." The next few days passed in a blur. Earth answered his signal. A rescue ship came. News of the satellite's destruction spread like fire. Eli gave them the Empress's message, her plans, her warnings. And Serene, she was taken in by a special peacekeeping group, one that protected children from war zones. But she didn't want to leave Eli's side, neither did he. So Earth gave him a choice: return to civilian life, or help build a future where peace between humans and aliens was possible. He chose both. 1 month later, in a quiet green valley outside a human city, Eli stood outside a small house with a garden. Serene ran through the grass with other alien children laughing. The sun warmed his face. There were no cages, no chains, just life. One afternoon, as the sun began to set, a message arrived on his datapad. It was a video, the Empress, recorded earlier, before her fall. "If this reaches you, then it means you kept your word," she said. "It means Serene is safe, and that Earth still stands." She smiled gently. "You were never my pet, Eli. You were my mirror. You reminded me what it meant to feel, to care." She paused. "Take care of her. Take care of yourself, and maybe one day and we'll meet again." The video ended. Eli stared at the screen for a long moment, then shut it off. Serene ran up to him, laughing, pulling on his sleeve. "Come on," she said. "Race me to the tree." He smiled. "Only if you promise not to go easy on me." She giggled. No promises. They ran into the golden light, free and fearless. The galaxy still had war, still had shadows, but here, in this small corner of space, a human and a child born of an Empress had made something powerful. Not a kingdom, not a victory, but a new beginning. And Eli, he was no one's pet anymore.